All right, hello everybody out there. As music lovers, those that like music, listen to music, enjoy music. You all know me. I'm Lee, and I'm gonna add some more videos to my page, which is the greatest music critic of all times. As I said before, I've analyzed and studied music for a very long time, 50 plus years, all genres of music. There's so much to review and so-called criticize that I can only do a little at a time. And I got a long list of different things about bands and artists, and this one is another list of some elites. Um, to me, elite artists are they even deserve more than the recognition they got. Like you got overrated bands, underrated bands. But when you put an artist or band into the category of elite, even if they got lots of recognition, they were still even better than that. And of course, if they didn't get the recognition, it's a shame that it was wasted because they didn't get the media to recognize them or the people or the fans. So these are a couple solo artists who blew me away. Totally blew me away. I knew about them, but I never dug deep into their history and who they were and their passion for music. Both of these gentlemen had a huge passion for music. Very talented. I mean, I was just totally blown away when I listened to all their albums, solo albums, not before they became solo, not after, while they were solo. This is the albums that I listened to by both of these gentlemen. Um, the first one, awesome. I mean, what can I say about him? He was known as the Red Rocker. My buddy Dave Alasowskis, he knows who he is. He was born in California, and of course, his name is Sammy Hagar. This old boy knew how to rock and roll. I checked out him on Wikipedia just to get some history of his background, but I listened to every one of his solo albums. I haven't listened to any of his pre-solo except for one band he was with, which was called Montrose. Excellent band, very underrated. I had that in a different video, but we're sticking to Sammy's solo days, just solo. This guy blew me away. I mean, as I listened to his albums, he came out in 1976 as a solo artist, all the way up through 1987. Album after album after album of really good rock and roll. I was impressed. Then he took a side turn, and I believe he went with Van Halen for a while. He was with them for a while, and it was okay. To me, Van Halen was Van Halen. I'm not going to comment on Van Halen, but Sammy was a good transition from David Lee Roth to Sammy for the band Van Halen. Um, then Sammy went solo back in 2008, and then in 2013 and 14, he also went solo. Um, I'm just putting Sammy. When I first, everybody heard I Can't Drive 55 and um, Your Love is Driving Me Crazy, popular media mainstream songs. But way back in 1980, when I saw a movie, and some of us my age can relate to this, when we saw a movie called Heavy Metal, which came out in, I believe it was 1980. Really, it was a pretty cool low budget animation, but yeah, back then it wasn't low budget. Today you would call it low budget, but I heard this song called Heavy Metal by Sammy Hagar, and I'm like, wow, this guy knows how to rock. So that immediately, when I hear an artist blast out one great song that like kind of blows me away, I gotta check into this dude. I gotta see what he's all about. And I was not disappointed when I heard Sammy's solo days. All these albums he came out with, check them out. He blew me away. So Sammy Hagar, I give you a thumbs up, brother. You truly are an elite of rock and roll. I was totally mesmerized when he wasn't inducted into the Music Hall of Shame, I like to call it, until 2007. This guy was rocking since the early 70s, the late 60s, and he finally gets recognized in 2007. That's okay. He's in there. But um, he was with a band called HSAS. He was with a band called The Three Worms, Planet Us, Chickenfoot, The Circle. But I'm focusing on the Red Rocker as a solo artist. I give this dude a thumbs up. Sammy, he's in his 70s now. He's still out there rocking. I give you a thumbs up, brother. You definitely are an elite, Sammy, of rock and roll. So that's my take on Sammy Hagar. Check out Sammy Hagar. If you're into just some no nonsense rock and roll, Sammy Hagar is the man to listen to. Now, the next elite of rock and roll, another solo artist. Um, this old boy was born in Michigan. Michigan, they put out some pretty good bands. I remember Grand Funk Railroad came from Michigan. I believe Kid Rock came from Michigan. Michigan had some good blues bands. That's where they called it the Motown. I believe Motown came from Michigan. So Michigan has had its share of pretty good bands. Grand Funk Railroad, of course, was one of my favorites. But we're talking about Bob Seger here from Michigan. When I grew up in this, late 70s and 80s, Bob Seger was big. He was like Beautiful Loser and Night Moves and Down on Main Street, huge hits. So Bob Seger, like Sammy Hagar, he did get a lot of publicity and he did get his due. So I'm pleased. I'm both Sammy and Bob. I'm very pleased with the outcome of their lives. They got the recognition they deserved. Um, but Bob Seger, like Sammy Hagar, he was even above the recognition he deserved. Uh, the one song that really blew me away was way back in late 60s. I believe it was 1969. He started his solo career as Bob Seger System. And I heard Ramblin' Gamblin' Man, and I'm like, wow, this could be possibly one of the shortest, greatest songs of all times, besides Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival. That's another thing I'm going to do, some of the greatest short songs of all times. They were like 2 minutes. But when I heard Ramblin' Gamblin' Man, I'm like, wow, you know, I heard Night Moves, I heard Down on Main Street, I heard uh, all them other songs, Beautiful Loser and Traveling Man. Good songs. They were good. I like Bob Seger. But I always like to go back in history and see if he really rocked. And when I heard Ramblin' Gamblin' Man, I was like, wow, this guy's worth checking out. So then I'm thinking, can anything top Ramblin' Gamblin' Man, when it comes to just get down rock and roll? And then I heard back in 72. And I was like, this guy ain't even white. He's got some soul in him, man. I was like, Bob Seger's got some soul in him. And Bob Seger, my hat's off to you, brother. You rock, man. Listen to Bob Seger's real early stuff. He'll blow you away. That old Michigan boy will show you he's got some funk and he's got some soul. Um, of course, before his solo, he was with bands called The Decibel, Doug Brown and the Ullmans, and The Last Herd. But to me, those are separate. I don't put them in as a Bob Seger because I check out groups and bands has bands. These two artists were solo, and they both, Bob Seger, Sammy Hagar, thumbs up, elites of rock and roll. Bob Seger himself, he wasn't inducted into the Hall of Shame until 2006. So, but you guys are elite. You guys rock. You guys got funk. You guys got soul. My thumbs up to Sammy Hagar and Bob Seger, as you are even better than the recognition you received. You proved your passion for music, your zeal for music. I give you guys a thumbs up as elites of rock and roll. Bob Seger and Sammy Hagar. Talk to you later.